Welcome everyone to this tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to create an PHP project using the Netbeans development environment and how to run this PHP code and how to debug it. First of all, you need to make sure that you have installed the Netbeans development environment by visiting their official website netbeans.org and go to the downloads page. There you can choose which bundle to download. Since we're only interested in with development using PHP, so all we need is actually PHP and HTML. So you can go ahead and download this bundle, or if you're interested in everything else, you can download this version. Now before installing and downloading and installing NetBeans, you need to make sure that you have installed the Java development kit. So that also can be found on their website, official website, Oracle website, I guess. Just Google that. And upon installing it, you need to configure it in the environmental variables to set the path. You can find so many tutorials on setting up these environments on YouTube, or maybe if I have time, I'd prepare another tutorial for you. From yesterday's tutorial of installing the mediawiki, you already know that we have the WAMP server installed as a web development environment on Windows. So we need to have that also up and running, because NetBeans is going to use this server or the local host to run the PHP code. So after installing the NetBeans, just double click on the icon on the desktop so that you can run the NetBeans environment. So this is how it actually looks. Now I'm going to create a new project. So I'll go for file and then choose new project. My project is going to be a PHP project. It's a PHP application, and since our project is going to be based on customizing the existing mediawiki engine, I'm going to choose the PHP with existing source as a project type, and then click next. Here it's asking me for the source folder. The source folder for my project is going to be the installation base files that we have installed on the root directory when we have installed the wiki. So I'm just going to browse for that. It already went to the root directory, which is, for me, if you want to see that, it's installed on the E drive WAMP server. And then there is my root directory, and then there is mediawiki. So it have chosen the PHP version for me, and the default encoding, just keep everything as default and click next. It's going to ask me for the running configuration. It's going to be run on the local host, and the URL is localhost mediawiki, and the index file is the index.php. It already fetched all this configuration from the existing source. So we're good to go. Just hit finish. You can see here it has created the project for me. These are all the source files. These are the include tabs, and nothing is there here. So for the source files, if you expand this, okay. So these are the source files for the mediawiki engine. This is the index.php. It's a file that just creates a mediawiki instance and then run it. The most of the core files or classes are included in the include directory. If I expand this, you're going to see a lot of classes over here, as you can see. Yeah. This is how you create a project, and in our case, since we want to customize the wiki, we have created the project using an existing source file. Now I want to show you how you can run this project. It's very simple. You either go and click on the green button over here, which is run this project, or you can go and click on the project node, sorry, the main project node, this one, and just click run. But what it's basically going to do just to run your web application using a web browser. In my case, my default browser is set to be Chrome, so it opened it using Chrome. So yeah, now it's running using my local host. But as I said before, you have to make sure that your WAMP server is running. And by the way, I just would like to hint something. Um, um, if you have Skype installed on your machine, you need to make sure that WAMP and Skype are not running at the same time, because one of them is going to keep the port busy, so the other program won't be running. So most probably that WAMP won't be running because Skype is occupying the port already. So yeah, just to say that. So now the wiki is just running normally. Now I want to show you how to debug um, the code. One of the most, like in my case, because I had to customize the generic editor of the MediaWiki, like most of my work was done on the class that's called edit, the edit page, this one. And I'll give you more details about the exact modifications that I have applied to this class during the presentation. Just wait for that tutorial as well. And I'm just going to show you a very simple change that I'm going to apply to the code, and I'm going to show you how we can debug this project. So there is a function called show. You can come here and search. Yeah, so these are the classes, and if you click on the class just like I did, it will show you a navigation through the class, like all the construct function and all the other functions in here, global variables and so on. So there is a function that's called edit, and there is another function. If I go to the edit function, just duplicate it over here, I'll get. Oh, okay, I have the breakpoint created. So let me just delete this. Now, if I'm going to add a simple modification to this function, which is the edit function. The edit function gets called when you try to, when the action is equal to edit. When you try to edit a certain page, this function will be called. So what I'm going to do is just going to be adding a line of code that simply prints a hello message or welcoming message once you click on the edit button and display the editing form. MediaWiki engine has a naming convention for all the variables, like you will notice that all the variables will start with the WG prefix. So let me just create and if I want to print something out or add a wiki text to the form, I have to use the global variable, which is called, or global object WG out, and then call a function called add wiki text, and just print hello famous programming phase, hello world. And for the sake of debugging, I'm going to, or no, we'll do it later. So for now, I'm just going to save, and let's run the project and see the changes that we have applied. So as I said, since I've changed the edit function, which only occurs, I'm already logged in by the way. The session is still on from the previous time I've logged in. So I'm going to edit this main page, or maybe just search for AOS, because if you remember, we've created this page AOS yesterday. So here it is. I want to edit this page. Just click edit, and voila! See, it appeared. Hello world. It's as simple as that. All you need to do is just to determine where are the places in the code where you need to make your changes and just apply them. And I'm assuming that you know how to use PHP syntax to do that. Now, what we want to do is, I'm going to cancel, so I want to save, and we want to debug. So I'll go back to the code again, and I want to add a variable. Let's call it test, and I'll just assign it string world piece, for example. And I want to debug this project. So I want to, like for example, I want to see how this piece of code that I've added runs. So I'm going to create what is called as a breakpoint. Breakpoint is basically telling the program that once you reach execution to this stage, I want it to stop and show me the variables. So to debug the mediawiki, actually there are some bookmarks that are created already in the source code. So whenever the debugger reaches a certain bookmark, it stops. So I'll show you now in a minute. So now to debug this project, I either go to the project node again and right click and say debug, or I go to the debug menu and say debug this project. So now the debugger starts. And by the way, you need to configure the debugger to work as well. There are other tutorials available on YouTube on how to install and configure Xdebug for PHP. You can search for that. They're pretty easy and straightforward. If I get enough time, I'll create a tutorial for you and show you how to configure the debugger. Well, it shouldn't take a long time, but as I told you, my laptop is very, very slow, and I'm really sorry for that. Yeah, so here, the debugger had started, and as you can see here, there is a bookmark, so it stopped. This is the bookmark I was talking about, so it stopped. What I'm gonna do is, this is not the breakpoint that I'm interested in, so I'll just keep on clicking the continue button over here. Oh, let me talk about these buttons. These are the main um, buttons in the debugging. This one stops the debugging. This one, if you reach a certain bookmark or a certain breakpoint and you want to keep moving on, you can just click this button to continue. This one, it's called steps over, which means if I'm standing or stopping at this line over here, if I click step over, it will execute this line and then stops. If I say step into, I can use that if I am actually calling a certain function and I want to get into the actual code or the body of that function, so I can step into a function. And this one is if I want to step out of the function, and this one if I want to go to the cursor. So at this point, I'm not interested in this particular bookmark, which was already created by the original source code or the people who have developed the wiki. So I'll just click continue. So let's see, when I continued, it just ran. I want the debugger to stop once I'm editing a certain page. So if I go and click edit, I want to edit this main page. Okay. Sorry, it's also slow. It stopped. The execution is stopped. So I need to click continue. Okay, see? It stopped at the breaking point that we have specified in the edit file. So it opened the edit page, class, and it stopped at the breaking point that we have actually um, specified earlier. if you look over here at this part, it's very, very helpful actually. Um, Believe it or not, when I coded or customized the mediawiki engine earlier, I was not able to get the X debugger to run, and I had to um, use some workarounds to figure out how the code works. But if you, I really suggest that you spend a little time making sure that your debugger works, because it can save you a lot of time. I really suffered a lot because my debugger wasn't working. I actually got it to work last night. Anyway, so if you look at this part over here, it will show you all the variables that are created. So for example, this is resembles the object that was created by this class. If you expand it here, you're going to see all the attributes and their types and their values. So, and this is for the out, and this is the WG request. The WG request is it's a special class in MediaWiki engine that was written by the developers to make it more secure. Um, it basically combines the get and the post um, arrays in PHP into one global array called WG request. I'll talk about that in the presentation. And so now we're stopped at this line over here. If I click step over this, it's gonna execute this line and then stop again. So I'm gonna click it. See, it was executed, and now I have a variable called test. It's of type string, and the value is word piece. And then I'm going to step over again. Shall I step over or shall I step in? Well, if I step over, let's step in. I don't know. Anyways, now let's just step over again. Now I've stepped over this function which has already added. I'm assuming if I don't know if I'm going to find it here. I don't remember. No. Oh yeah, here it is. So when I when we have executed this, it added it to the object. If you can see at the embody text, the type is a string and the value is hello world, and these are the HTML codes that were added by this function. So this is another function. Well, I'm not sure what this function does, but I don't know. I think I actually forgot that was like a year ago. But I think this function checks if there are extensions. I don't remember. But anyways, if we stepped in just to show you how this works, it went to this function which is in the profiler, the PHP class, and it got into it. Again, I can just step over and see. You can see over here everything changes, the values and all the variables, and you can see here the request array. It has title called name page, action is edit. This is very, very, very helpful. And one more helpful, so that's about how you debug a project, how you create a project, how you debug it, how you add the code to it. I just want to show you another helpful tool that really helped me a lot, which is from Google Chrome. If you're using Chrome, it's a quite powerful web browser, which is, for example, let's say over here and just say right click, I want to inspect this element. Right, and see how beautiful is that? It will show you the source code for this page. Quite helpful. It even highlights it when you run the cursor. Okay, and over here it shows you the styles that were used for the page. There are other tabs showing you for the network activities, the resources used, and how long it took to execute a certain function or a certain. It's very, very helpful. Here it shows if we're using any resources. I'm not sure if Yes, it's helpful. You can use it. It helped me a lot personally. So yeah, that's about how you install or how you actually create a project from an existing source code, which what you actually need, and this is how you change the code and how you um, let's do something major. Just stop the debugging and see it says that the debug session has ended. Um, let's do something major. In the edit page, one of the functions that I had to modify was this show, not show conflict, it was show content, show form, show the edit form. For example, let's see this one. If we don't want the edit form to show, let's see how this works if we have commented this part. Let's just search for it and search. How do you search? Rules. Somewhere, anyways. Actually, this is also my first time using Netbeans. I used Eclipse, but I find Netbeans more friendly. Ah, the search. So this is in the selection. Yeah, okay. So now I'm just searching for the text which I have selected. This is cool actually, I like it. So no, this is a command. For example, here, where are we at the moment? We are in which function? I think it's the same edit function. So if I commented this line over here, let's see how this would affect the wiki. And just run. It will run normally, and the changes will only occur if we have edited the page, since we have modified that function. So just say edit. See, the form did not appear because we have commented that line. Oh, that's very nice. So wish you all the best of luck, guys, in this project, and about it. So see you later.